We'll get this thing started up here in just a little bit. Give me a second here. I'm trying to pull up a TikTok live as well. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I've really been very proactive lately on all of my social media platforms. Don't you hate it when you're trying to put something in and it autocorrects? Give me a second. All right. Well, I hope everybody is having a great night out there. And you know, we actually weren't expecting much in the way of thunderstorm activity right away, but we are starting to see some storms now. And I'm going to share the radar graphic. By the way, this is my gimbal here. I haven't been on a lot live lately. I've been doing mostly videos because that's just kind of what. Yeah, I don't know what's happened. I think that it's something to do with the war in Iran, but social media has gotten to where it's not really pushing out a lot because there's so much bad information which I'm okay with, because I mean there is so much bad information that's getting spewed out on social media these days. So you don't see nearly as much push with your stuff. So that's good and bad. It's good if you're to me it's good because it doesn't, you don't get as much mess, and I've seen a lot of other influencers out there, which I'm not an influencer, but I've seen a lot of influencers complaining about that because they're stuffing. That one guy, Snowball Bird or whatever his name is, he's big mad because his garbage he's been putting out there with these big snow and severe weather events 3 weeks away isn't getting pushed around anymore. So let's talk about what's going on here in the world of weather. And let me share a graphic here so you can kind of have a look at that here. So give me a second. All right. So I got the new weather information that's in the evening data. Now give me a second. I'll have to play around with this some to make it fill into the holes here. And those of you that are joining me on TikTok, I'm also on Facebook Live here right now, so you'll probably see that. If you can't hear me, just let me know, because I am doing things a little bit different with the microphone over on TikTok as opposed to Facebook. By the way, I do want to say that it's not Facebook Live and that kind of stuff for weather coverage isn't going away. But I think that the way that we do things here in the TV set, that's TV station at least, is going to be changing a bit coming up. I think that a lot of what we're going to start doing is doing a lot of our lives on our app. And a lot of this is because that the weather information has just gotten so bad out there that I think that this is what we have to do now, is we're just going to do a lot of this, do a lot of this stuff on our app. So, all right, if you take a look at the radar, as of this evening, this is as of around 9:30, and I'll answer your questions here too. We've had a lot of storminess down the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. Look at all that storminess. That's a lot of thunderstorms. It has rained heavily. There's flood warnings. There's been high water rescues down there tonight. Not a whole lot of severe weather. There's been some hail down that way and some wind gusts, but mostly just heavy rain. Now, the frontal boundary that's responsible for these storms here has kind of been draped kind of down into this area here. Well, that frontal boundary, and that separates some cooler air to the north, warmer air to the south. It's also more humid. Well, that warm, humid air is now moving into this direction here. And it's, at least initially, this is going to ride up and over the cool air. So cool air is heavy and dense, and warm air is light and buoyant. So warm air can't push cooler air out of the way. So what it has to do is it has to go somewhere, so it goes up and over it. And as that happens, you get some showers and thunderstorms, but they're called elevated. It means they're storm bases. The storm themselves are up higher in the sky. And usually the only types of severe weather you see with elevated storms is mostly hail. Sometimes you can get some strong gusty winds, but usually it's just hail. Now, we do see some storms now. Again, they've kind of been in the Dallas area. There's been some stuff around Fort Worth, and there's stuff near Arlington and kind of moving eastward. Then you jump up to Weatherford and northward into Wise County. Pretty strong storm there now near Bridgeport, just kind of over Lake Bridgeport. Heavy rain, thunder, lightning, a little bit of hail in that. It's headed right at Decatur. And from there, you'll see some scattered activity also into Jack County, maybe brushing into southeastern parts of Young County. And I do expect this to lift up into Montague County as well. In fact, there's some storms just south of St. Joe. Decatur, the storms will increase in your way shortly. Now, these are not big, severe storms. Again, they're elevated thunderstorms, but they still might produce some hail overnight tonight. So don't be surprised if you hear some dings and some heavy downpours. Of course, we need the rain. We're not going to complain about that. But, it certainly looks like that would be a good possibility that at least some of us would see some good rain out of that there. All right, so now let's kind of shift focuses here just a little bit, if I can. And we're going to discuss now. Let me pull myself back up here. So now we're going to discuss the chances for some severe weather tomorrow, because what we see tonight, in my opinion, isn't like true severe weather. What we might see tomorrow would be, some truer severe weather. So I'm loading my graphics in here now, and then we'll be able to talk about it and discuss it a little bit more in detail. All right, so let's go. Let's do it. All right, let me make this bigger, because I know that some of you that's watching on your phone, you don't have the access to, the wide computer like we have in other places here. So I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see it. And there we go. All right. So tomorrow evening, remember that front I was just talking about that's backing up as a warm front. Well, tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, it's just going to kind of slowly move into this direction throughout the day. And it looks like by tomorrow evening, it should be somewhere located in this orange area right in there. To the west, across the Texas Panhandle, you'll have a dry line here. Now, there's not just an incredible amount of moisture over this way, but there is a higher content of moisture kind of located kind of over in here. Well, let me erase. I was getting confusing there. So let me show you here. So you do kind of have a higher concentration of moisture, kind of like that. And a couple things we're going to be watching for. I think there could be a couple of thunderstorms that might develop a longer east of the dry line there tomorrow afternoon. But it looks to me like tomorrow evening, right along that warm front, there should be a group of supercells somewhere in there in that orange area, which, I drew this earlier. This is and if you've not noticed, with this severe weather season, we're now doing some different things here. This is not based off of the Storm Prediction Center. This is based off of what we do here. The terminology is a little bit different. It's not the same as a Storm Prediction Center. So my graphics sometimes will look a little bit different, but they're not always going to be different. SPC does not have the enhanced risk. I got the elevated risk going on here now. This would be the equivalent of their level 3. I just don't include the marginal risk. And I think slight risk is I think that's confusing. So I'm just going low and elevated here. Now, if you see these supercells, of course, hail is your biggest concern. But if they interact with this warm front, and a warm front actually indicates or actually helps the atmosphere spin more, and any storm that can interact with that warm front will have a chance to drop a tornado or two. And tonight's weather information that's been coming in actually kind of indicates this a bit. So if we kind of take a look at this, they're the storms. Now, this is also the HRRR, and it's not. I'll admit the HRRR has not been handling these storms all that well. It's been a little bit off lately, but it does show those storms that are to the southeast of Wichita Falls and kind of over the southeastern parts of Texoma here, lifting northward gradually, and then there might be some storms over there around and after midnight. And you can kind of see some more waves coming in late tonight and into early on Thursday. Not everybody's seeing rain, but there will be some out there. So here we are, first thing in the morning. So if we move this out, yeah, it looks like a lot of the activity has shifted off to the east. But as we head into the afternoon, so there's your first attempts there of storms back over here along the dry line, Lubbock, Amarillo. That's around 3 o'clock. But watch what happens as we get into the evening here. So this is 4:30. There are some more storms that attempt to develop kind of right there where that warm front is, or kind of where that little moisture surge is. And if these storms can persist into tomorrow evening and interact with that warm front, especially over southwestern Oklahoma, then you may have some problems there. I mean, it looks like, again, these would be mostly hail producers back in the Panhandle, although the Panhandle almost always produces tornadoes, even when it doesn't look like it's going to. Now, these storms initially would probably be hail producers near Childress and over near Quanah. But as we get into the evening, you can see there's a pretty long track supercell over there just northwest of Childress. And then you got this cluster between about the Quanah area and up towards Altus and then up towards Hobart, Oklahoma. But notice you don't see a lot down here across the rest of the area. We've been talking about this the whole time, that it looks like a lot of the area may get by without seeing much in the way of rain with this system tomorrow here. But again, the hot spot there, southwest Oklahoma. And here we are into the evening. You can see how those storms kind of lift northward. And there's that cluster about 8:30 there moving into western Oklahoma. You got another supercell probably right along the warm front up here near I-40. And those could be tornadic there. Now, the storms you see developing further to the southwest, they probably would be some hail producers, but I don't think they would be that intense. But there you are about 9 o'clock. That's a pretty good cluster of storms there in southwestern Oklahoma. But notice how they just kind of pass most of the area on by. Now, there's some showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night, nothing major late. And then you get to Friday, and man, there are to me, there are a lot of question marks about Friday. Latest information really tries to develop a good many thunderstorms. We've kind of been talking about this over here along and east of I-35 there. And, those could be some pretty significant severe storms. Here we are at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But you don't see a lot of activity developing further to the west. There's a front, and there's some storms along the front up to the north of Oklahoma City, but that's it. So I don't know that there's going to be a lot of activity on Friday. But again, tomorrow evening, we'll need to watch these supercells over southwestern Oklahoma and see what they do. So here's something else I'm doing as well. It's called our Tornado Power Index. I'm going to label this with some numbers at some point. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But watch how you see that red and pink color show up right in that area I was talking about, right there where the warm front is. So along the warm front, you get winds that are out of the east to southeast, east-southeast. And then right above the warm front, right above that east-southeasterly wind, your wind direction turns more southerly and then eventually on around to the southwest. You get a lot of enhanced spin there. Plus, you get what's called, with this spin, you get a lot of vorticity along it. So it doesn't take much to cause the spin in the storms to stretch down closer to the atmosphere. So Childress, I'm going to say Childress over to Altus, maybe Quanah, Hobart, Oklahoma, need to keep an eye out. And look at that really increase there tomorrow evening. And I don't know that there will be a lot of storms in those areas, but I think the ones that do will be rather significant. And they could really put out some pretty big hail and a couple tornadoes possible there, especially right there up in southwest Oklahoma or far northwest Texas. Now, you do see that area expand eastward tomorrow night, but by then the storm mode may have changed. Significant tornado parameter, or the tornado power index, is always more significant when you have supercells as opposed to something else. And then Friday, that will probably extend. You see that really expanding over there in eastern Oklahoma. And if there's storms over there, that's where there could be some significant severe weather on Friday. But again, it remains to be seen how that'll play out. So, all right. So what I'm going to do now is, this is 9:30. I'm going to take a minute to answer some questions here. And you guys can feel free. Let me put the chat back up here so you can see. All right. So, good evening there, Brendan Dunn. Glad you joined me here for a minute. No, this summer will not be hot and wet. Javier, I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. Well, Kroll, you're kind of over in that area. Oh, yeah, here's a new graphic. Let me show you this new graphic I made. This is pretty cool. This will kind of help you out a little bit. This will kind of help you. This will kind of help you see this will help you see your town and stuff. All right. So let's look here. Let me see if it's here. All right. So this is the severe level graphic. All right. So I show you the map with the colors and you understand that. So remember up there in Southwest Oklahoma, I'm going with the level 2, which is elevated. And the locations in that would be, and this is my level 2, Altus, Frederick, El Dorado, Quanah. Those are the areas that I'd be in. But probably if you're watching from Childress, we'll include you in on that as well. And your impacts in that area from supercell storms, especially up in Oklahoma, large hail, gusty winds, and a tornado threat. That's tomorrow evening. Now, in my level 1 area, which would be outside of that, Vernon, Seymour, Knox City, Kroll. Oh, maybe some hail and some gusty winds with some storms in those areas, perhaps, but those don't look quite as intense as what the level 2 would bring. And if your city is not in 1 or 2, then I'm not concerned about you getting severe weather at this time. And again, the threat on Friday is basically kind of a wait and see thing. And I really, as of right now, don't think Friday would be for us. I think it would be east of us, but we'll keep an eye on that for you. All right. Well, I do appreciate you guys joining me. We had a nice little crowd on here tonight. Let me see if I can answer. What will it be like in Nakona tomorrow? Tomorrow, you'll just be kind of warm and humid. Maybe some cloud cover around. I don't think there'll be much in the way of rain over that way tomorrow. Maybe some stuff in the morning, but I don't expect much other than that. Kristen, I'm not too worried about Vernon right now. It's kind of a close call in your area, but I think the worst of it would be, at least the way things look now, would be northwest of you there. So you're welcome, Teresa. I don't know why the governor would declare a emergency for expected bad weather. Because, I mean, maybe because of what happened, a lot of things have changed. A lot of the terminology and a lot of the way they do things changed after the floods in Kerrville last year. So that may be why, you may see them do that more now. But of course, weather has become the hype train. And of course, that's leading to, a lot. And a lot of this is spurred by social media. And then one guy actually had messaged me earlier today and said, the way the algorithms are, you have to hype it up. Even if you don't believe it, you have to put those colorful, dangerous maps out there because the algorithms don't like it otherwise. That's why I'm saying that social media is no longer a good place to get your weather information. In my opinion, you should go back to your traditional meteorologist or pages, if you do want to do on social media, pages that do not hype. And there's a couple of them around Texoma that don't hype. Shannon Combs has a good one. He's the Wichita County Spotters. He has a good one. He doesn't overhype weather. So, I mean, that's a good one. That's a good source of information. We want you to get the information. We just don't want you to get this bad information that's going around. So, but I have been myself more proactive on my social media accounts. I'm trying to build YouTube. YouTube is hard. Very hard. Yeah, I'm excited about the 22, Shannon. I just have to wait. It's really active. We can see some more severe weather next week too, maybe. Jack County, you're mostly getting in on the action right now. Just some hail down that way. I don't think your severe weather threat's too high in your area. Lawton, Judy's a close call. I think a lot of it's west of you, but there could be some storms in your area later on tomorrow night. So keep an eye on that. And supercells also have, especially when they interact with the frontal boundary, they have a way of altering and deviate motion. So there are at least chances that some of those graphics I showed you will change a bit as we get into tomorrow, but they shouldn't change much. And yes, I think Wichita Falls is in good shape. I don't think we see much here. Matter of fact, I don't think I even have us drawn into a severe threat tomorrow. Remember, I'm not. All right. So what I'm trying to say is the guys up at Norman and the Storm Prediction Center, they do a great job. I'm certainly not trying to dispute them. But, there's so much bad information on there and we're not even really into storm season yet. And we're already getting just bombarded on my news feeds with all these crazy graphics, scary graphics and whatnot. So I draw them, and I've always really done this, kind of draw my own, and I kind of tone it down a bit. And I try to give you better I'd give you easier to understand words with it too. So you don't see all this crazy. There's one guy who had this big, bright red and it had all these tornadoes on it. But again, it's the algorithms. These people are what you don't understand. People like Max Velocity and Ryan Hall, this is how they make their living. They make a lot of money because they monetize their pages. And the more views and clicks and likes they get, the more money they make. I bet Ryan Hall, just a guess here, I bet he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars every time we have a severe weather event because he has so many followers. He has his pages get so many views and whatnot. He's making bank, folks. Trust me. Look, I've done the math. And I mean, he had a graphic he showed earlier that had almost 2 million views, and that's probably about $500,000. It's a ton of money that especially YouTube pays out. Facebook does too, but YouTube pays huge money for content. And but you do see some scale back since this stuff in Iran. You do see some scale back in the amount of distribution that you're seeing in social media platforms. I know there's been a lot of complaints from the creators on TikTok about it. I'm not complaining because it's overwhelming, especially when we had that winter storm. It was overwhelming, the amount of bad information. Same thing with these severe weather events and these tornado events. It's overwhelming the amount of bad information that's out there. And I think the public's getting leery of it. I think the public's exhausted from it. And sooner or later, the public's just going to quit watching it altogether. So that's why I'm saying good pages, not the ones that overhype. If they're up there, if they're putting scary pictures up there and scary words, block them or don't follow them. Good pages, your local TV weather people, usually not on. There's a lot of bad ones out there too, and I've noticed a lot of TV people have started getting bad with it too. So no, I don't expect tornadoes near Wichita Falls. But yeah, we need to go back to old school stuff. Back in the day, whenever you turned a TV on at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock to get your news and your weather. Back when they didn't give you all this crap and garbage that's out there now. Yeah, it makes me mad. It pisses me off because I worked really hard to get to where I'm at today, to see the number of people that are watching and taking part in this nonsense out there over the good people. But I do think that the public is starting to get tired of that and exhausted of that, and I hope you do. I've been fighting them for a while now, and I probably fighting a losing battle, but who knows? So. All right, everybody, y'all have a great night, and we'll have more updates on this. Remember the First Alert 6 weather app, but I'll do an update on that before I leave. And Cameron, Weatherman Cam, around in the morning, he'll have a good update. Weatherman Cam's a good meteorologist too. He don't overhype, but he's really good. He thinks a lot like me, and he does a really good job. We're teaching young Jacob as well. He's starting to learn good too. So, but yeah, just we'll be on with it tomorrow morning, and we'll have whatever that. Max velocity always overhyped. So Corey, he does it. He does it to make money. He's making bank. These are very wealthy people because of this. So, all right, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you later on.